Hi guys, okay, so in this video I'm going to be talking about how you should always take your wife's side. Okay, so when Ingrid and I just got together, she told me that she wanted to cut out a few family members. She said, she didn't like them and certain things. And I was like, no, I'm an advocate for peace. You need to be close with your family, all those nonsensical things everybody says when someone tells them a statement like that, until I got to experience it. And then I realized, oh, okay, I need to take my wife's side here. I'll just give you a little story, just one story. Now, guys, just to start off the story, Ingrid is half white and she's half Indian. So her mom's side of the family, her mom is white and her dad is Indian. So she has two different sides of the family. I'm not gonna say which side of the family did this, but I'm just gonna explain the story.
And we're not trashing anybody. We all have experiences. We all go through things. So we are telling you what we went through and what Daniel went through specifically.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Okay. So this one time I was at one of Ingrid's family's house, right? I was sitting down, and then this family member walks up to me, and then they were holding a pair of shoes, two pairs of sandals. And then they said, "Hey Daniel, I found these pairs of shoes at the beach. Guys, these shoes were torn up and everything, right?" They were like, "I found these pairs of shoes at the beach.
It was being held up by some wire.
Yeah, wires and everything. Yeah, they're like, I found this pairs of shoes at the beach. Maybe you could give it to your mother or your sisters. Your mother or your sisters. Shoes they found at the beach. Guys, that's just it's ridiculous. I sat there and I was shocked. I had no words. I just said, "Oh, okay, thank you." And then I sat there and I was like, "Did that just happen?" I was pissed off, but I had to calm myself down. You gotta choose peace. You gotta choose peace. Jesus is the way. So after that, I learned that the type of things Ingrid had to experience, and people don't think. Because now remember, guys, I'm black, right? We have completely two different sides of the family here. Before someone does something like that, if you think about it for 3 seconds, I'm not asking for a long time. 3 seconds, you realize how racist it comes off. You realize how much do you look down on me that you would bring up shoes, Para's shoes, torn up sandals you found at the beach and say that I must give it to my mother. It's crazy to me. I couldn't understand how this person could have thought this. If they bought their old sandals and they said, "Daniel, maybe you can give this to a family member, they don't fit me anymore," I would have found that as a really sweet gesture, because we family, we share clothes, that's how family is like. But then that's crazy. And then a lot of other actions like that have happened before, and people think that racist gestures or things like that are big slur words or swearing or cussing. You're saying a lot of phrases, but no, it's
Or saying I don't like
yes,
people.
it's small things that you do on a daily basis. If I have to visit said people sometimes, I'm not attacking anyone, by the way, I'm just giving you examples. Do you know how every house, everyone has cups that are usually designated to garden boys? If you get normal garden boys that come and then they clean the yard, there's a said mug or cup that nobody actually uses in the house. It's always in the back of the drawer. That's the one they give. If I had to go there, the plate, I would be the one getting those plates. And I would be the one getting that glass or that mug. That you look at it and you see, that's the garden boys mug. That's the one that I'm getting, which is crazy. But now the reason why I'm sharing these things, right, is that the reason why Ingrid and I are happily in an interracial relationship is that we do not let all these outside things, noise, affect us.
And the only reason why we're not letting it affect us is because I cut my family off.
After that, I was
Yes.
like, "Yo, bro."
But it wasn't just that.
Yeah,
There
it was a
were
lot.
things that were happening before and there were things that were happening after. And I told this person, "Listen, I don't blame you for being racist. It's not your fault. Everyone around you normalizes this behavior." So, excuse me, I was trying to make them feel like, okay, I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying that they're a cuck person, but then I'm trying to help you change. I'm trying to help you treat black people better, because a lot of the things that they were doing were offensive.
Very.
And I think at first, just to keep the peace, the person was like, okay. And then afterwards, we started noticing that it started getting worse.
Yeah, it started getting bad.
And then the person had the audacity, and I'm saying the audacity, to say, Black people need to get over it, and that they can't feel like they're walking on eggshells all the time and stuff like that. And that's not something that you say, because if the roles were reversed, if black people were the one doing the thing that white people were doing a very long time ago, I think that you guys would have been just as sensitive to that
subject. Yes, and like we're not asking for much, man, guys. Like guys,
we're not
I'm not blaming you for slavery and apartheid and all those things.
We're not
like,
expecting you
to apologize.
Treat black people like kings and queens. We're asking you to treat them equally,
like humans.
Like, yes, like a normal person. I would expect you to treat black people how you would treat your family.
Yeah.
How you would treat your race. And that was not the case.
Yeah.
A lot of the things that were being done were completely opposite of how this person would treat their race.
Yes, yeah. Like there was a lot of stories, guys. We're not gonna share a lot of things, but because some things are personal. But then like I'll just give like little examples, like if my family has to come over, they are supposed to. I'm talking about my mom, by the way. If you meet my mom, she's a sweet lady. My mom, she's supposed to be using the outside toilet, not the inside toilet. Like, it's things that you can't even imagine, like someone to say with a straight face, like, oh yeah, if you guys want to pee, there's the toilet there, and you're pointing at the outside toilet. That's like the maid quarters toilet, that's not even clean, by the way, because like it's no one is using it, so it's like, oh, you should use that. And then I just sit there and I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna fight with family members, obviously, of my wife, because
I did.
It's just, it's disrespectful. I'm not going to do that. So, and I'm not going to defend anyone because I already got the girl. There's no need for me to fight anyone. I already won. I got the girl. So there's no need for me to fight anyone. So yeah, guys, just love wins in the end. People are always going to be nasty. People are always going to be mean. Whether it's family, whether it's outside people, inside people, it doesn't matter. We built our own family and we surrounded by love. Yeah.
Listen, guys, if your family is doing something towards your partner, a lot of us are taught that we should always choose our family and stuff like that. But then I think when you get older, you start realizing the type of personality your family has, the type of way that they act that's not nice. And I started realizing that after I got with Daniel. He started to make me realize that I shouldn't have been treated this way. And a lot of the time we're kind of like brainwashed into saying, no, we should respect our parents and stuff. And I got to a point where I was like, no, I actually don't like how I'm being treated. And you have to stand up for your partner. I think we did mention that in one of our videos, where you have to stand up for your partner, especially if you can see that it's affecting your partner. And for a long time, I was defending my family. I was defending them. And then when I realized, when I actually cut this person off, it was the last family member. I actually apologized to Daniel. I said, I'm sorry that I put you through that. I'm sorry that I let this happen to you. And I was being so delusional about it. I was defending them all the time. And yeah, it's not nice. If the roles were reversed and Daniel did that to me, I would take it very offensively. And the fact that he was so calm about everything really just baffles why he actually still stayed with me after I defended my family. And there was a lady who messaged me with a similar issue. I think she was also with a black guy and her family was racist. So things didn't work out with the guy for some other personal reasons. And then she says in the thingy, but you can't choose your family. And I am here to tell you that you can. When you are younger, of course, you can't, because it's the people that you are stuck with to take care of you. But the minute you're older, you can choose your family. I chose my family, and that's Daniel. That's his family. That's the people I'm surrounding myself with. Do not feel obligated to keep people in your life because they are blood related or they did something for you. Feel obligated to keep the people who are nice to you, who treat you nicely. Stop this whole thing where y'all say and y'all teach your kids, no, you can't choose your family, you can choose your family.
Yeah.
And I 100% would keep choosing Daniel and his family, because not once have they treated me badly. Not once were they racist to me. And a lot of the people I experienced racism from was both sides. But it's the same people who say, I am not half white, I am not colored because my dad is Indian. But the same people who said I am not mixed are the same people who treated me differently.
Yeah.
All the people in Chatsworth said no, you're not mixed because your dad is full Indian, so you are Indian. But they didn't treat me like an Indian.
Yeah.
They didn't.
And vice versa.
They did not treat me like an Indian. And because I did not look white people did not treat me white. A lot of the times I was getting asked if I was adopted when I would go out, and people of course would look at me funny when I was with my white side. And just guys, just stand up for your partner, and if you are noticing things, put your foot down. And we did give these people, those family members, multiple chances to change, to treat Daniel better, and they chose not to. And I realized that I was dealing with that my whole life, where I was constantly on their side and they were not on my side. And I finally have someone that's on my side, so I don't think they like that.
Always, baby, always. Yeah, no. But, guys, in the Bible says, you should obey your mother and father. As a husband and wife, the Bible says that I should die for my wife like Christ died for the church. It says that my English should obey me as a husband. But you need to be worthy and fitting for those roles. She only must obey me if I represent Christ in our household. I must die for her if she's worthy, for me as a wife. She can't be cheating on me and doing this here and then I die for her, like Christ died for the church. It doesn't make any sense. Same thing with your parents, guys. I gave an example to someone once when I was talking to them, because they said that you must always, obey the parents. But then I asked the question, if your parents said, do not worship Jesus, should you obey them? Because the Bible says, obey your mother and father. So if you use that type of statement to oppress people into always obeying what the parents say, it starts contradicting each other. So your parents need to be Christ-like for them to be obeying worthy. Always obey your parents, as long as, because your parents know what's good for you. But some of them don't. Some of them are not really your parents. They don't know how to take care of you. They're never really there for you. They have too much hatred in their hearts. They have too much anger in their hearts. So once you differentiate those two things, then it shows. Is my parents aligning with the things that God is saying that they should be like? And if it's not, don't take advice from them. You are going down the wrong path. Because if Ingrid kept following down that path, she would have been just... I'm not saying that her parents were, I'm saying family members, but she would have just ended up as someone who's racist, someone who's bitter, someone who's mean, but then...
And I was. We did mention in the last video that
she was. At certain time, but
I was.
We broke down those barriers.
Yes, and I want you guys to know that I slipped away from Christianity because of my family problems. I would always ask, why is God putting me through this? But I want y'all to also know that the people who say that they are Christian and use Christ as a front, and they say, no, I'm Christian, they stand in front of the church, they do whatever they need to do, they help people out, but still treat you badly, they are not Christian.
Yeah.
They are using it
as a cover.
Yes,
yeah.
to treat you badly. Because that's what my family did.
Yeah.
They were all so holy, so this, so that, but
speaking in tongues.
They still literally speaking in tongues,
crying in church.
Yes, and they still treated me badly.
So
They still did what they did.
Yeah.
I honestly, it's because of people like that. A lot of us start to
go away from Christ. Yes, because you're like my
and
mother
then,
was a Christian, my dad was a Christian, my auntie wasn't a Christian, but she treated us so badly.
Like this.
Yes.
And then they're really not Christian, guys. I can't pray to God and then treat you like cuck. You're not Christian because that's not what the Bible says how you should treat people.
Exactly.
And of course, when I got with Daniel, I came back to Christ because he started showing me, okay, no, this is how people are supposed to treat you, and the way your family was doing it was not right. It was not Christ-like. And then I met his family, and honestly, every time I meet someone, I compare them to Daniel's family because they're just perfect. They're so Christ-like. They're so Christ-like. Of course, there's some...
Everybody has problems.
Whatever problem, whatever you want to call it.
Christ is the way.
Yes. They're very Christ-like people, and they always put God first, and they always treat people nicely. So, yeah.
Yeah. But we love you guys. And Please tell us what you want us to talk about in the next video. And yeah, everything is going well, guys. Just choose Christ and choose each other. I love you.